What's up, and welcome to episode 73 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me as always is Woody V.
What's going on, Robbie? How you doing, brother?
Pleasure to be back as always, mate. We've got a very special guest who we'll introduce shortly. Just before we do that, just a reminder where to find us. Please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or where all podcast channels are. Yeah, you know the drill by now. Let's get into it, right? So today we've got another very special guest, right? In fact, Woods, our first three-time guest of the show, previously appearing on episodes 8 and 21. So haven't had this man on for a while. So he's a great friend of Throwback Hoops and just a terrific guy. Finesse Mane, a.k.a. Jayden Oakley, is in the house. Welcome, Finesse.
What's going on? I'll correct you. It was episode 7 and 21 , I believe.
7? Oh, jeez, we've been fact-checked already.
We been fact-checked already, man. Shit.
I'm feeling like Nikola Jokic, you know, three time. So I'm ready to chop it up, talk some basketball.
That's awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to have you back anyway, mate. And look, you know the drill. Before we sort of continue, tell us a little bit of a story about what you're wearing or something like that. I know you can see you're rocking a bit of a jersey there.
Yeah. So, you know, in the theme of the playoffs, I was going to go with my new Jimmy Butler jersey, one of my many LeBron jerseys. But I thought today I might rock something that I don't feel any of your guests ever will have this jersey. So today I'm rocking, I believe it's a 2016 Raptors Cory Joseph jersey. And if you're wondering why I own a Cory Joseph jersey, I'm a big Drake fan. And this was the first ever OVO-inspired Raptors jersey, and obviously number 6. Toronto is the 6. So once I saw it, I just had to have it. I get a lot of comments all the time, like, why do you own a Cory Joseph jersey? And that's the reason. So I don't think you'll ever find anyone on your show that has this jersey, unless it's someone from Toronto.
And I'll tell you, mate, that's right up our alley as well, Finesse. We love the obscure jerseys on the show, ones that you don't sort of see people walking down the street with, and that's a great story to go with that. And yeah, like I like Cory Joseph as well. I know you're probably a fan of him as well, Woods.
I loved him at the Spurs, man, when he started off playing alongside Patty Mills. And look, in the theme of Drake and Canada, Cory Joseph being Canadian himself, I love it, man. I love it, right?
Nice, yeah. We expected that one.
It's a nice jersey too. Clean, black and gold.
Yeah.
You know?
I could see it when you sat down. Like, that's definitely a Raptors one, but yeah, probably Cory Joseph would have been maybe my 10th person that I might have guessed it would be. So
you know, you see a brother walking down the street with a Cory Joseph jersey and you say, you know, that homie, he knows his basketball, right? You know, he knows the game, right? Otherwise, you know, why would he be wearing a Cory Joseph jersey, right? So it's respect, you know, respect, Finesse.
Exactly. Well, what are you boys wearing today?
Yeah, take it away, Woods. I can see you're rocking a bit of a topical one today. So Woody's standing up wearing the OG, number 40 Miami Heat, Udonis Haslem jersey.
I like that.
That is... I thought it's fitting, man, because the veteran is on the team. He's playing in his last season. I mean, you talk about this guy. He played his whole high school career in Miami, then played for the Florida Gators and played 20 years at the Miami Heat. Talk about a guy staying loyal throughout his career. And over the last 5-6 seasons, he hasn't played much on the court, but the kind of influence he has in the locker room, that veteran leader that he is, you even heard him in that first series when Miami was playing Milwaukee and Milwaukee was struggling. He just got the team together in the huddle at halftime and yelled at them. They came back in the second half. So he plays a huge role as a locker room mentor, and the kind of service that he's given to the Heat has been incredible. And I think if Miami are going to go all the way or have even a deep playoff run, they're going to keep him in his mind this year. Keep him in their mind this year, right? What do you think, guys? Yeah.
Hey, Woods, what role would you see Haslem doing with the Heat? He's obviously a Heat lifer now. What could you see him doing next year? Like a coaching type role, or what do you think he'd be doing?
I think he'd fit into a coaching type role or even a front office type role, you know, as a scout. But I think he'll remain as part of the Miami Heat brass through his post-career, right? Jayden? Finesse?
After that 28-point game, I think I want to see him on the court one more year.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I think definitely he's a guy that you want in the locker room, especially with that culture. You know, him and I think Spo has been around almost as long as him. So just to keep that same culture going, have them in the locker room. I don't know if D-Wave's he's sometimes involved with the Heat. He's
with the Utah Jazz now, actually.
You know, you see him rocking with some of the Heat players sometimes, but for them just to keep that culture. Heat have a real nice culture.
For sure. And I think it's a bit weird wearing the Philly hat with the Miami jersey, but just shout out to Philly and the performance that they had today with the big upset. So I thought I'd mix it up a little bit, right?
Nice. We'll definitely get into a little bit in that game, in that series for sure. So appreciate that, boys. So look, I'll, I guess, finish it off. So as I'm doing, I like doing a bit of a double there. So doing the Lamar Odom double today. So a bit of a blast from the past. So hanging over my shoulder there is his red Clippers champion jersey. If you look at that one as well, hopefully it's coming okay in the picture. It's one of those ones where their sizing just went crazy. So it's a size 48, which is what all mine are. It's maybe twice as long as what some of them are. So I think they started making them in another country or something like that. That is just ginormous, that one. So quite amusing, really. But thought we'd keep with the Miami theme. I'll just quickly stand up and show you the one I'm rocking today.
And for those who are listening to the audio and can't see, Robbie's wearing Lamar Odom Miami Heat jersey to keep with the Heat and the Odom theme. You don't have a Lakers Odom jersey, do you?
It's funny. Probably the team he's most well known with. I don't have his jersey. Do you have a Lakers one, Woods?
I don't. I only have a Clippers one. Yeah.
This is definitely one I've had for a while. And I like these Nike Rewind ones. It's really good quality jerseys.
Yeah, definitely.
So look, just a little bit of some information on Mr. Odom there. So he played 14 seasons in the NBA after getting drafted by the Clippers at pick 4 in the 99 draft out of Rhode Island. So a bit of a random college there. I believe he was signed to go to UNLV with the Running Rebels, and there was a few scandals going on there, which probably became a bit of a theme later in his career, and he ended up going to a lesser school in Rhode Island. So certainly their highest draft pick in NBA history coming from there. So look, he played with the Clippers, Heat, Lakers and Mavs. His best years were, of course, as part of those Lakers teams, and he was also involved in the big trade that sent Shaq from the Lakers to Miami, and then Odom in a bit of a package there went over to the Lakers. So one of those trades that probably benefited both teams there. So look, his accolades are a 5-time NBA champ, so pretty impressive there. All rookie first team, a 6th man of the year. Also had a few stints on the US Olympic team, some successful ones, some not so successful ones. He's definitely one of those players as well that's probably unlucky not to have an all-star game on his resume there. So one of those ones that was always kind of in contention, but probably, especially once he was playing in the West there's a lot of other bigs and stuff sort of getting picked ahead of him there. So look, we know post-career it's been pretty tough going for Odom with various drug and alcohol issues. Also was a victim of the Kardashian curse. So in the last few years, the now 43-year-old's pretty much done everything from Dancing with the Stars to Celebrity Big Brother to even trying his hand in the boxing ring, which he's had a couple of victories there. So haven't had a bobblehead for a while, so I thought it would be a good time to bring one back today. So got the bobblehead of Lamar playing for the Clippers there. So stadium giveaway. It's a Carl's Jr. one there. Looking pretty like him, I reckon. It's not like the standard one where they've just kind of put the jersey on. So what do you reckon? Reckon that looks a bit like Lamar?
I think he's got a bit of a mix of Magic Johnson, the head shape. It's very Magic-esque.
It's a different one, yeah. I'm liking the Carl's Jr. there. So, yeah, I've been mentioning I haven't had a bobblehead for a while, so I thought I'd show that one off. So, all right, I like that, boys. A couple of sort of 3 very different players. A current player who's on a team but not really playing. A player that we never would have picked with finesse wearing, and then I got a bit of a blast from the past in Lamar Odom there. So, all right, well, let's get into having a bit of a chat with Mr. Finesse Mane there. So, look, last time we spoke with you, mate, as we mentioned, it was episode 21. It was last year. So we know you've been doing a lot since then. We've seen you on TV. We've seen you on ads, sitting in the front row at NBL games. So give us a little bit of insight on how all that sort of stuff came about.
Yeah, I don't know where we left off, episode 21, where I was at, but I definitely wasn't here. I just really kept doing what I was doing, and evidently got better at what I was doing, and I still love it. I do this full time now, so it's just fun. It's a whole bunch of fun. It's what I really love doing, and through that, I've had some amazing opportunities. I guess I don't know. Maybe one of the bigger ones last year was working with the Australian Boomers during that World Cup time and doing some ads for them, and I've just worked with a few brands here and there, and got some opportunities to go to things that otherwise I wouldn't have had opportunities to do. Met people like Shaquille O'Neal, so yeah, some pretty big things.
We know the two of us got a big kick out of seeing you on TV, man, and they were sort of, I forget, it was Jack Heverin.
It was Jack Heverin.
What did he
who
say?
actually,
It was like, it was a bit awkward the way he said it. It was like, oh, there's a,
there's Finesse Mane, if you don't know him.
Or something, something like that. But yeah, we both got a bit of a kick out
It was,
of that.
there were 2 times, and I actually got roasted the second time because I was there doing business, and I was wearing a Southeast Melbourne Phoenix jersey, and I'm a United guy, but I think Pete Hawley roasted me and said he has 500,000 followers and about 500,000 jerseys as well, which is true. I got a jersey from almost every team in the NBL and a lot from the NBA.
Oh, very good. We also heard you've been doing some work with PUMA there, so maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I am officially signed with PUMA. As you might see, that beautiful PUMA chain in the background for the YouTube viewers. So we've been working together for a fair bit now, probably since I was last on the show, but done some things here and there, such as the Stewie 1 launch Brianna Stewart's shoe, which was the first women's shoe in over a decade, and might I say it's a wonderful shoe. I love hooping in that shoe, and I get a lot of compliments in there as well. And from there, kind of organically grew into a partnership. And when I got the contract, and I felt a bit like a athlete. I'm getting signed. It's like the dream in 2K that you grind for. And you get to pick who you sign with and all that sort of stuff. So PUMA have been very nice to me. I feel like I've been very nice to PUMA, and our partnership, I hope it lasts a while. This sounds very media trained. It's not media trained at all. I just really enjoy working with them. They're an amazing group of people to work with.
Hey, Woods is a pro now, isn't he? You can tell that, right?
Absolutely. And when I met Finesse, it was during COVID, and he was putting up these videos on TikTok. Obviously, people had time on their hands, and this is something that he was doing. And just to see the growth that he's had, it's just, we're proud of you, man, as a friend of ours, and really happy for the success that's coming your way. Tell me a little bit more about, your social media, TikTok, etc. Is that still going, man? What's your following like at the moment?
Yeah, I appreciate it, boys. I'm at, I think on TikTok, 500 and I hit 530 today, 530,000. Instagram, I don't know, somewhere in the 80s, and then YouTube, I'm really starting to try and push. I'm at like 38,000 subscribers, and I'm trying to push on there. It's just longer form content helps showcase the personality a bit more. I want people to connect with me a bit more, and YouTube helps bridge that gap. So I'm still having fun with it. I'm posting a lot these days. I'm posting. I got to a point where I was only posting once a day, and sometimes I'd skip. Ever since I left my job, I just said, I'm posting 2 a day. So PUMA, they gave me a hoop in the backyard, which they custom painted for me. So that helps out with content. Don't have to go down to the court and all that.
Hey, tell us, you mentioned about meeting Shaq before. How did that sort of come about, and what was that like?
For those that know, I posted non-stop for a month about, I don't know, it happened organically, funny enough. I was doing my court reviews, and I found a court that was like absolute garbage, but the hoop was like incredibly strong. I don't know what it was. It was like bolted on, ridiculous. And I just said, this hoop is strong. I don't even think Shaq could break it. And then got a few comments, and then turned out Shaq was coming here, and I turned that into a whole series, like every day for a month. And I just kind of came to the realization, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm not going to meet Shaq. He's not going to come to this hoop and break it. That's what everyone wanted to see. And then, somewhere, a shop that he was going to reached out and said, hey, listen, you should come here. Shaq's going to be here. And this is like an hour-long story, but I'll break it down into 30 seconds. But long story short, I had a tough time taking that hoop off the backboard, because my idea was, if he's not going to come to the hoop, I take the hoop to him. Yeah. I had a tough time, a very long week for me taking that hoop off the backboard. I took it to him. It looked like it wasn't going to happen, and then his social media manager looked at me and said, oh, you're that guy. Come here. And he stopped whatever Shaq was doing and said, you need to dunk on this hoop. And then we got it done and said what's up to him. But, it wasn't much of an interaction. But shout out to Brian. That's his social media manager.
Nice, no, it's a great story. Well, look, really appreciate it, Mr. Finesse Mane. Great to see you kicking goals since we last spoke, and looking forward to see you in the front row and getting all these shout outs from the NBL commentary crew when that next season starts as well. So, all right, awesome. Well, look, we thought we definitely wanted to talk a little bit of playoffs with you as well. Obviously, that's heating up now with the second round starting. Woody sort of teased that he's wearing that Philly hat today. So we should say at the time of recording, it's Tuesday, the 2nd of May. So second round matchups have started all bar one, which starts tomorrow. So I thought before we went on to the second round, we might just touch on those last two series in each conference that went the longest. Unfortunately, with Boston beating the Hawks in 6 and Golden State beating the Kings in 7. So Woods, obviously, when we recorded last, we were on a big high, weren't we? The Hawks had just taken out that game 5. We were like, can we win that game 6 and, force a game 7 and everything else like that? It didn't sort of, go to plan there, but I thought, the Hawks still did pretty well. But what were your thoughts on that Hawks series and losing a close game 6 there?
Well, no one expected us to take it to 6 games, right? And I think that Coach Quinn Snyder is finally having an imprint on that Hawks team, right? And, it was unfortunate. We had that game till that last quarter, but we couldn't get anything at the rim. And, I guess Boston's defense really held up at the end there. But, we can leave this season with our heads held high. We beat Miami in that play-in game to qualify as a 7th seed. Miami, who obviously eventually went on to beat Milwaukee. And then we pushed the Boston Celtics to a 6-game series. So really promising, I think. Maybe keeping Trae Young, John Collins, those guys together for one more year with a training camp under Coach Quinn Snyder could be the way to go for us next year. But pretty proud of the boys and the effort they put in. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think Quinn Snyder's really leaving his mark on that team. You see heard a lot of the interviews with some of the players. Everyone seems to be on the same page at the moment. I think that's important for someone like Trae, being known a little bit as a coach killer in his season so far, going through a couple of coaches. But I think Quinn Snyder's an excellent coach there. He'll definitely put his stamp on the team next year, probably change the coaching staff. Looking at making maybe a few moves there. I hope he sort of keeps the main core of that team together. But
definitely.
Yeah, if someone would have said that would have been the longest series in the East with the Hawks taking Boston to 6, I probably would have been happy with that. But Finesse, what about you, mate? That obviously that series between Golden State and Sacramento, so the only series that went to Game 7 there. Thought Sacramento might be a little bit disappointed after winning the first 2 and then going down, but what was your thoughts firstly on the Game 7 and the series in general?
Well, the Game 7, I'll be quite honest with you, I have no thoughts because it was scheduled for like 3:30 in the morning.
Yep.
I don't know why, like all other games we're lucky here in Australia if you're watching from somewhere else. Games are generally 11 o'clock, but playoff time they start at 9:30 and the late one at 12:30. It was at like 3:30 and 5:30 that day. I don't know what happened. So I didn't get to see that game. But Steph Curry with the 50 ball. And people are saying, but he took 38 shots. But he shot 52% from the field. He had to take those shots. The team needed him to take that many shots. And he needed to make them. So, Steph Curry was doing Steph Curry things. I'm so excited for this, what might be the last ever LeBron versus Curry series. But, we might talk about that a bit later. And the Kings is disappointing in a way, but also exciting to see what the future holds after that 17-year streak finally broken.
No, good call. Look, I think for Curry there, that's just another string to his bow there, another big thing on his resume, the first player to score 50 points in a deciding Game 7 ever. So breaking Kevin Durant, who I think he had
8 rebounds.
49. Yeah. No, he did it all, didn't he? Yeah, look, it was pretty good to see that. I think you're right about Sacramento. I think they'll be reasonably pleased. Obviously, they were, did have the home court advantage going into that, and they lost there. But we've seen a few road dogs winning these series, and I think they'll build on that. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox wasn't quite himself with that injury there, but no, I enjoyed that series. And look, I think you're right. This, Lakers and Golden State. Wow, the whole eyes in the world will be watching that one there. So, well, look, there's a bit of a segue there. Let's get on to these second round matchups. And look, we might start with the series that's probably a couple of games in so far, right? So, well, actually, one game in there. So let's talk about the one topical one that happened today there, Wood. So Philadelphia winning in Boston in Game 1 there without Joel Embiid. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, let me say, Kendrick Perkins was saying before this series, right? Doc Rivers has had a lot of criticism, right? And this is his opportunity to outcoach Coach Mazzulla on the Celtics, right? And the last time he had success in the NBA, ironically, was with the Celtics winning a championship there. So I think the way that he coached today without Embiid in the lineup was unreal. And you see James Harden turning back the clock. And I mean, this is his first 40-point game ever as a Philadelphia 76er, his career playoff high. And you got guys like Paul Reed, stepping up and ready for this moment. They got DeAnthony Melton, from Memphis, who's really contributed. Tyrese Maxey. These guys are ready. How many shots do you think PJ Tucker took today?
Probably one, like he always does.
Zero.
As many as the three of us did.
With 0 field goals and free throws. 37
Exactly.
minutes.
Finesse said that. And as the Celtics coach, you want to take advantage of that, right? You got a guy playing 37 minutes, as Finesse said. They pretty much got 4 guys on the offensive end, right? And a more experienced coach would take advantage of that. This is where someone like Doc Rivers and what Kendrick Perkins said may be the advantage here. And look, if Embiid comes back for that game 2 and somehow they sneak that game 2 before going back to Philly 2-0 up, damn. A lot of people didn't even give him a chance to win one game in this series. They thought that it would be a sweep. But Philadelphia can thank the Atlanta Hawks for really pushing Boston in that previous series, right? And there's some doubts in their head, and this is where, Udoka's missed, right? And a rookie coach comes in. Really, really exciting to see where this series goes. Finesse, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a shame, not from a Miami Heat fan, but it's a shame that this wasn't the conference finals. It's obviously everyone's pick with Bucks being on either of these two, but I'm happy because that means these two wear each other out. Hopefully, Miami get through. Tyrese Maxey, I'm not sure if you guys saw, was he doing some sort of illegal play there at the end? He was calling for the ball from Boston and he stole it for the dunk.
Boy, smart those ones. Yeah, I saw the turnover. He got it.
Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon threw it away and went straight into Tyrese Maxey's hands, and I don't know if it was illegal, right?
I think he was. Yeah. I mean, it's not illegal, but ethically, I think he was falling for the ball. And then James Harden showed the James Harden that he is and closed it off. So it's nice to see that.
Hey, and just with James Harden today, you talked about Steph Curry, Finesse, 47 points from the field and only 3 free throws in that 50 ball. James Harden known for getting to the free throw line. Only 4 free throws today. So 17 from 30 from the field, 41 points from the field. This is just unlike James Harden. Obviously, he's a bit older. Finds it a bit more difficult taking it to the butter and getting that contact and getting to the free throw line. So supreme effort from him, right?
Hey, Woods, that's his best game in a couple of seasons now. And to come like on a road victory, and they've been off for so long. I don't know if I told you it was someone else yesterday. I thought Philadelphia had no chance in this first game. I thought that whole rest versus rusting was going to go against them. I thought Boston would have been really up for this. And yeah, it obviously came down to the wire and Philadelphia got it. So look, with the second series there, I can certainly say Miami's up 1-0 in that series there. We've got game 2 tomorrow in New York. We're going to save that a little bit there because we're going to do a little bit of a heat segment after that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that series there. So Finesse, don't think we're forgetting about your heat there, mate. We'll just sort of save that there. But looking forward to that game 2 tomorrow. But look, let's touch on those West series there. And let's start off with the other series that occurred today as well. So Denver taking a big 2-0 lead against Phoenix there. Did you boys get a chance to watch that one today?
Yeah, I got a chance to watch the fourth, and for someone who might have never watched basketball, you'd think Kevin Durant is the worst player you've ever seen. The Suns are the worst team you've ever seen. It was just shocking. It was honestly disappointing. I didn't get to watch the Celtics and Philadelphia end of that game, so I really wanted to watch a close ending, and we didn't get to see that. It was quite a disappointing end to the game.
And we see, obviously, Chris Paul going down with another injury there. Like he does seem to at this time of year. It was a bit of a surprise there. I want to throw 2 names at you, Woods, on that Phoenix Suns bench. TJ Warren and Terrence Ross. Now, they are guys that can fill it up, right? Phoenix scored 87 today. Why aren't those guys playing?
Well, I was just talking to Finesse before you came on, and I said, look, the problem is not their big 3. I mean, DeAndre Ayton has been a bit of a liability on the defensive end, but apart from their big 3, they don't have a great bunch of role players. You look at Josh Okogie, Bismack Biyombo, Cameron Payne, he almost forgot that Kevin Durant was on the court in that fourth quarter today, Finesse, right? They missed the first 9 shots in that fourth quarter.
4 bench points is just not good enough, is it?
No,
Honestly,
so
it's
those
not good.
guys you mentioned, right? Proven veterans in this league, have done it before. I'm just a bit surprised that the coaching staff don't give them more of a burn in the game, right?
See, I didn't even know Terrence Ross played for the Suns.
And we've seen him. He's one in that 50-point club, right? He can come on and hit 8 3-pointers. There's a lot of Damian Lee, 25 minutes in that game today, and was none of 5 or something like that from the field. That's way too much for him there. Campaign, like you said, was pretty ordinary as well. Wood. So even someone like Darius Baisley's on that bench, not the worst player in the world. You could see maybe he could come on and play a little bit there. But let's talk about the Phoenix sort of side of that. Obviously, Embiid. The Joker today, 39.
You mean the Denver side, right?
The Denver side there. Yep. So, look, I think the MVP is going to be named tomorrow, and it probably will likely be Embiid, I'd say. So it's kind of interesting that he could get named after not playing and his team wins, and then his main rival there basically put his team on his back and had a monster line. But what were you guys' takes on the Nuggets and what they've been doing so far?
Real quick on the MVP, Embiid is bottom of that 3 for me. He should not be the MVP. I won't be mad if Jokic gets it, but I think it should go to Giannis. Anyway, let's move on. Denver, Jamal Murray. Let me retract my Kevin Durant statement. Jamal Murray may be the worst player I've ever seen if I've never watched basketball, and I watched that game today. Nikola Jokic, he does what he does, and it's just amazing to watch.
Jamal Murray was none of 9 3-pointers today. I'm not sure he's ever done that in his career, like missing that many. He's been pretty good, hasn't he, up until now, sort of thing. But that just shows you if your second best player can really struggle. Aaron Gordon only had 16 in that game, so it wasn't like he was, really dominating. But again, the Joker just put the team on the back, and they got a little bit more contributions from the bench. They only played 3 guys off the bench, surprisingly. But Brown got 9 points, and Jeff Green did his usual big dunk, and that there. So interesting, Thomas Bryant doesn't get on there as well. He's another guy that I'm sort of been a fan of over the years, but I guess when you've got a player like the Joker there's not a lot of minutes for the big men there. But can you guys see that series sort of going the distance, or how long do you sort of think that series will go?
Well, they say you don't know what the series is like till both teams have played at home, right? So Phoenix are going back home. They got a great crowd there that's going to get behind them. I think Monty Williams, I'm always concerned about him and some of the decisions that he makes as a coach. We talked about his rotations. Interestingly enough, I saw the post-game press conference with KCP and Jamal Murray today. And Jamal Murray looked at the box score. He's like, 9 from 9. I thought it was bad today, but that bad? And KCP had a laugh at him. He's, don't worry, Mo, we got you, right? So it's kind of like, look, he's going to have those bad days. But, KCP had a good game. Gordon played good today. And, Jokic, he's just incredible, right? I think people underrate him and don't give him the credit he deserves, right? This guy's just, he's the greatest passing 7-footer God has ever created. Is it fair to say that?
It's a fair call.
Hey,
Woods, just quickly, your thoughts on Aaron Gordon's hair?
I love it, man. I love it. I love left field stuff, right? I'm good with it, right? I'm good with it. Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, let's get into this big series now. We've sort of, touched on it a few times there. Huge series coming up with Lakers and Golden State. So obviously Golden State have got the home court advantage. Game 1 is tomorrow. Really looking forward to this myself. We get to see LeBron and Steph one more time. Might start with you, Finesse, about that one. What are your thoughts on this series, and what are you looking forward to seeing it?
If you don't watch any other basketball this year, watch this series. This will just be an incredible series. I'm really liking the Lakers team they have after that All-Star break. Like I said right before the playoffs started, I think they have what it takes to go all the way. It's not like, that their pieces that they have are like massive pieces, but people like Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura stepping up.
Dennis Schroeder as well has been big, I reckon.
Yeah. Very, very exciting to watch. I'm going to add, actually, I have watched one game of regular season basketball this year, and it was obviously LeBron's all-time record game.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I got back into it for the playoffs, because this has been a very exciting playoffs, and I can't say anything, but I'm excited to watch this. I'm hoping AD steps back for this series. We want him to step up for every other series, but let this be LeBron versus Curry, please, one last time.
Give us a prediction. Who wins this series?
Lakers. I'm saying it's a Lakers final. I don't know about East.
And what are your thoughts, Woods?
Lakers in 6, and I think you look at Kevon Looney and the big impact that he had against Sacramento on the glass, right? You go up against the front line of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Vanderbilt, and Rui Hachimura, as Finesse mentioned. It's going to be a lot more difficult for him, right? And the way the Golden State plays, they're going to need someone to crash the glass, and it's not going to be as easy for him. So I think the Lakers in 6, maybe 7, right? I'm going to say.
And
right?
let me ask you as well, Woods. I know you've been a bit of a fan of D'Angelo Russell. Who does he guard in this series? He can't guard Steph. He definitely can't guard Clay. You see someone that gets played off the court a little bit, and you might see someone like Schroeder potentially getting some more minutes.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. Yeah.
I think you're right. And I think you're right as well. Obviously, Looney had a huge impact on that Sacramento series. He's not going to get it as easy against AD. Is he? Assuming AD can stay healthy, that's obviously a bit of a big if. And we hope that with this series that all the big name stars can stay healthy and get out there. But this could break some records, I reckon, ratings-wise and everything for the NBA. They'd just be, just rubbing their hands together in those NBA offices, wouldn't they, just with that matchup.
Well, as Finesse said, we may never see this again. Two absolute legends, first ballot Hall of Famers. It's almost the end of a generation as these two go out of the game, right? And you watch them play against each other. It's must-watch TV for anyone, right?
Good stuff.
Don't worry about first ballot Hall of Fame. These are 2 top 10 players ever in the history of basketball. And on top of that is the Warriors dynasty. It's like this is the end. Like these players are getting old. So if you want to watch this happen, this is it. I might be wrong. It might happen for the next 5 years again. So.
Well said, fellas. All right, look, the fans have asked for this, right? So we did the Heat Beat segment all those episodes ago when we had Finesse on there, and the fans have been asking for us to bring it back, so we thought we would. And especially good timing, especially with me rocking the Lamar Odom jersey, Woods rocking his OG Udonis Haslem jersey there. So Finesse, look, we know the Heat absolutely shocked a lot of people with that 4-1 victory over one of the championship favourites in the Bucks. Give us some thoughts on that first round series and how you thought that went.
As a Heat fan, it shocked me. It doesn't shock me that they won. Of course, everyone thought the Bucks were going to win, but if Miami win, it wouldn't have been the craziest thing in the world. But 4-1, I mean, that's unbelievable. And Jimmy Butler, what was it, game 4? That performance, that 56. What do you call 53, 56? Just like Jimmy Butler, just doing Jimmy Butler things. When the playoffs are on, he puts his body on the line, and it's just like unbelievable to watch Jimmy Butler. I had to go out and actually buy a Jimmy Butler jersey. I haven't had a Heat jersey from a current player in a long time, so I decided that after that performance, I got to show him respect. I'll regret it if I never do. So, and to touch on the Bucks side of things, Giannis's quote, as inspirational as it was, and success doesn't mean just winning the championship. Losing 4-1 in the first round, that's a failure to me.
Definitely.
Did he say something like, if you didn't get promoted in your job, is that a failure or something like that? Well, I don't think you can compare the two because, they were one of the big favourites. It wasn't like they went in with the 4th or 5th seed and people were like, they might have a chance. They were a legit championship favourite, had the best record in the regular season. So I think personally he was a little bit off on that quote there. I could kind of see where he was getting at there, but maybe he didn't quite, formulate his words properly there. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys as well, look, we know there's a lot of probably no-name guys on this team's a little bit harsh, but there's definitely some unheralded players, probably a better word. Exactly, undrafted. Good analogy there. And look, a big part of this Heat's team is the veterans. So guys like Kyle Lowry, Kevin Love. How important are these two guys to the Heat's success? Woods, you take us away and tell me your thoughts on what these two guys can give the Heat.
Well, we spoke about Udonis Haslem and the role he plays off the floor, right? I think a big acquisition for them was Kevin Love. At that, which they pretty much picked off the scrap heap, and the Cavs would probably now have said it. The Cavs probably regret giving him away now, right? But he's now moved into that starting lineup, and amongst all these undrafted players, as Finesse said, having Kyle Lowry, who's been great off the bench actually. Gabe Vincent's been great starting, but Kyle Lowry coming off the bench. I think he had 4 or 5 blocks the other night. I think it was just been incredible. And Kevin Love, obviously, that stretch big, fits into that lineup with Bam Adebayo playing the 5 spot. Just looking at 4 blocks for Kyle Lowry, and I think they were all in after the second half. from the point guard position. So it can't. I mean, sure, Jim is one guy putting the team on his back, right? 56 points. No one else scored over 15 points in that game you mentioned. But it's the sum of the parts that make a team successful. So as good as Jimmy Butler's been, these veterans have really contributed and helped those young guys along. So really important as Miami go further down this playoff run. I think they'll take care of New York. Jimmy Butler's status, Finesse, what do you know? I mean, he left the court injured the other day. Is he going to be good to play in Game 2?
I personally see New York as an easy matchup, and I would rest him this game.
Yep.
It's Jimmy Butler. He's not going to let you rest him, so I expect him to be on the court. But on that, how fun would it be to watch New York win a championship this year? I would love to watch New York win a championship. They go crazy winning a game, let alone a series, let alone a championship. So I wouldn't be mad if they get through to us and then through to the finals.
Well, Stephen A. Smith was losing the plot when they won that first round, right? You heard that, Robbie? Remember?
Yeah. That's right. When was the last time they actually won a first round series? I mean, they had those years with Carmelo, in the the early 2010s type thing.
Took Boston to 7 games, I think, in that one series.
Yeah.
But I mean, Julius Randle being out, what's his status? Your boy.
Yeah, my boy's hurt his ankle again there, so that's a bit of a worry there. Obviously, he had that ankle injury, came back against Cleveland, wasn't looking great, and then not sure if he just sort of tweaked it or badly re-injured it. So I think his status is a little bit up in the air for tomorrow.
Right.
I think they really need him to come back, to be honest. You can't just rely on sort of those smaller guys in Brunson and Quickly and those sort of guys. You need your big dog out there, your all-star out there. So I hope he is back. And look, I think what Finesse said's true about Butler. In a perfect world, you would rest him in that game, knowing they've got the steal with the road victory there. But there's no way anyone in that organisation's talking Jimmy Butler into sitting out that game. So this is not going to happen there, I suppose. So, well, look, while we're talking about Butler, Finesse, obviously we know he's one of the most clutch players in the NBA. He's shown that even more this time there. How much are you enjoying his playoff run? Can you see him continuing to step up, especially if he's healthy, and also with the second leading scorer, Tyler Hero, out with injury?
100%. Like, Jimmy Butler is going to put everything on the line. You saw it in the 2020 finals. There's that famous picture of him just slumped over the barricade, given everything he's got. He did it again this other game when he dropped 56, and then he did it again yesterday or the day before when he tweaked his ankle and went back on the court. So Jimmy, healthy or not, he's going to give absolutely everything he can. It's nice to see the others step up when they're needed to. Such as Kyle Lowry. I forget what game it was, maybe game 3 or whatever it was in the fourth quarter, and he stepped up. So as long as Jimmy's giving everything he can, all you can ask is the others to do their job.
And look, I think Tyler Hero's injury status was initially around 4 weeks or something, so you never know. And that probably prompts me to my last question I wanted to ask you both there. I'll start with you, Woods. Do you think this team can stay hot and potentially challenge for a championship this season?
Look, definitely. I mean, I think that Boston and Philly, you don't know who's coming out there. Boston's a bit iffy. Philly, Embiid's, his injuries are questionable, and that you don't know. I mean, who they're going to play, but I would give them a chance against either Philly or Boston, right? Finesse, would you agree?
Yeah, I'd give them a chance against anyone in the East. Yeah. It's the West that really scares me. Right. I feel like they could draw against a couple of those teams. But I think the trouble may be if Suns make it through. I mean, you can't have Jimmy, going up against KD for 48 minutes and overtime and whatever else. And then I don't think if Lakers get through to the finals, I don't think anyone is stopping that. That's LeBron's, my opinion, last chance to win a championship is this year. So if they make it there and they get that smell of blood in the water, Heat, they don't have a chance.
I think Denver's a pretty bad matchup as well if the Heat somehow come up against them as well, right? So
they're probably my favorite. If I were to pick any of those 4 teams, I would probably pick Denver against the Heat.
Yep.
Hey, Woods, wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to a friend of ours and a friend of the show in Sydney Sea King. So we had a bit of friendly back and forth at the start of the season after we did our predictions when I had Miami in making the play-in. So he thought I was absolutely nuts. I think he thought Miami were going to come second. This is one of these rare situations where we were both right. So Miami did make the play, and they did sort of finish 8th in the season, but now they're a chance to sort of get through to the final 2 in the East. So I thought I'd give a bit of a shout-out to Sid there on that one. So
Shout out to Sid, biggest Kings fan on earth, man.
Shout out Sid, that's right.
And he's in Florida at the moment, so he's living there.
Nice. You'll probably get to
much
one of
love,
those
Sid.
games now, Sid.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, appreciate that, guys. That's good sort of giving a bit of NBA content there. So I thought we'd sort of just go through our last segment there, talk a little bit of NBL, a little bit of NBL1. Look, obviously this week there hasn't been as many sort of big NBL free agency signings that we've seen in the past, but there's been one big move, Woods, and I know one that you were all over there. Shannon Scott leaving Cairns and signing with Brisbane. So give us a few thoughts on that move there.
I'm a big fan of Shannon Scott, and the big knock on the Brisbane Bullets over the years is they're not willing to get an import point guard. They've got Jason Kidd, Nathan Sobey, even TJ Tyler Johnson playing some point guard last year. These guys are natural twos or combo guards, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that for them to take it to the next level, they need to get an import point guard, a game manager to put alongside the likes of Sobey, right? And we saw Shannon Scott and the influence he had on that Cairns roster last year, right? So really happy with what they've done.
Can I ask about Cairns? Do they know that free agency started yet, or did they miss that memo or something?
Are they just getting rid of their team and packing up and going somewhere else? Because I haven't seen anyone sign there, but I've seen all their players sign somewhere else.
I think they had one guy out of college, but nothing else, and they've lost. Well, tell us, Woods, you sort of let me know late today. There was a couple of moves today, including another Cairns player finding a new home. So what were some of those moves that came out today?
Ben Air as well, going to Southeast Melbourne, out your way. Finesse, which is, he's been great. And the thing about Cairns is they develop all these great players, and you see them leave for other teams. We mentioned Shannon Scott. Your Indigenous brother Keanu Pinder, man, doing his thing, getting a big payday in Perth. Finesse, right? And then you've got Ben Air, who's really developed under the tutelage of Adam Ford in that Cairns system, now going to Southeast Melbourne. So maybe it's a case of money or just trust in Adam Ford. Maybe he's scouting out of college again and trying to find some guys from the G League late and trying to get them on the cheap. But they did get back Bull Call, which was good. DJ Hope, hopefully they can bring him back.
He's not going back there. If he comes back to the NBL, he'll go to one of the big market teams, and you know which team I'm talking about. You're Sydney Kings, right?
Yeah.
I'll chuck an extra zero on the contract and wrap him up. And what was the other move today? Junior Madut, right? Where did he end up signing with?
Tasmania. I like that opportunity for him.
I like that for sure. Yeah, we saw him had some good sort of moments with Southeast last year. Not quite sure why they didn't elect to bring him back. We know he's been obviously in Sydney playing for Norths in the NBL1 East and dominating there. Scored 50 points a couple of weeks ago there. So, yeah, it's an interesting move there. Well, look, I've finished the NBL stuff with you, Finesse. Just wanted to get your opinion on the off-season so far for your two hometown teams in United and the Phoenix there. What are your thoughts on the moves that both those teams have made so far?
Yeah, well, until today with the Ben Air move, I hadn't seen too much movement with Southeast. Maybe I forgot something, but, pretty unimpressed. It looks like Kyle Adnam is on the way out of Southeast with that move there. Melbourne, amazing moves. But, we got Travers, which is a big signing there. Joe Lual Achul is back. Amazing.
Yep.
Ariel is back. I'm so disappointed that we were robbed of last year seeing Ariel just go to work by himself without JLA there.
Yep.
But now, we'll get to see them both work together. And keen to see the import spots, how they fill those in.
Well, that's the thing. They may end up going with the All-Australian lineup. I think they've got a few of those marquee players. Yeah, I think especially if they can get Delhi back and get him over from the NBA.
I don't want Delhi back.
You don't want Delhi back. Yeah, fair enough.
I do not want Delhi back.
And obviously, look, they've lost a couple, haven't they? They lost Isaac Humphries. We know that, we haven't heard anything about Rajon Tucker, right? So I'm not sure exactly where he's going to end up there.
Tuck's doing his thing over in the States, and shout out to him. But
he was good fun to watch.
I'm keen to see where he ends up. It was so fun to watch him at the end of the year. Once he found his groove, for sure, dropping 30s here, there, and everywhere. But I actually said this to someone in the Melbourne United circle the other day that they have a great team, but so did Adelaide last year. They had an amazing team last year, so I hope it all works out.
And tell you what, Adelaide are another one of those teams that their fans just on social media are just not very happy with some of the moves, or should I say lack of moves they've been making. Even guys like Hiram Harris, who the Wildcats signed last week, he was a big fan favourite with Adelaide there.
He was. Yeah.
So they were a bit disappointed to lose him. I think the only player they might have picked up so far is real aging veteran in Jason Kadee there. So I guess we'll watch this space with the 36.
I guess the difference with Melbourne and Adelaide, sorry to interrupt there, Finesse, is a lot of these guys, JLA, they're familiar with the system, coming back into play under that Vickerman's system. Huck Porty's coming back after an injured year. Whereas that Adelaide team brought in Randall, who's a bit of a locker room cancer and things like that, right? A lot of these guys are familiar. So I think this Melbourne team may just go in as early favourites, whether you want that tag on your head or not.
The issue with last year's Melbourne United side was you had some amazing talent, but Melbourne United play Melbourne United style basketball, and they don't do anything different. So bringing back people who know that system is definitely going to help.
Well said. Look, just wanted to finish off just with a quick little NBL1 update. I know we didn't sort of have any of that last week. Look, I wanted to talk about the game I covered last week. The NBL1 East between my Hills Hornets taking on last season's grand finalists, the Maitland Mustangs. Hills won an absolute thriller, 82-76. This is like a season and a half of games I've been calling. This is easily the most fun. I tell you what, when you're sitting, behind the mic, when you've got such a close, exciting game like that, you're riding every call. It's really exciting. A couple of times I watched a bit of the replay back. I was like, whoa, I think I shouted a bit too much on that one there. But yeah, just wanted to give a big shout out for the Hornets there. They won 5 in a row, really moving up the ladder. And I wanted to say as well, Woods, I don't think I've even let you know this one, but been speaking quite a lot in the last couple of days with Hills Hornets import Sean Montague there, and he's really keen to come on the show. So I'm going to have a bit of a chat with him. Yeah, so that's he's got some big goals there, Sean Montague. Anyone that is listening or watching this that hasn't seen him, check out an NBL1 East game. He's got, I'd almost say, NBA athleticism. This guy, never seen someone jump so high on a rebound like him. I'm talking in all sort of competitions that I've watched. And to boot, he's a really good guy as well. So really looking forward to getting him on the show and chop it up with him, is what he would like to say. So
definitely
watch this space with him there. Look, I thought I'd just, rather than always just talk about the NBL1 East, a quick update on the NBL1 South, so down in Finesse's way there. So, look, 4 rounds in the books. There's only one team that's undefeated. That's the Mount Gambier Pioneers. So they've currently got a 6-0 record. So I thought they deserved a bit of a shout-out there. Being led superbly by Nick Marshall, William Mayfield, and Jacob Lampkin. So shout-out to them being the only undefeated team there. So, Finesse, just wanted to ask you, do you sort of take in much of that NBL1 South? Have you got to sort of follow that a whole lot?
I've only got to one game this season. I went and watched Gazy's Melbourne Tigers. They got some celebrity reality TV stars on that team as well.
Yes, they do. Felix, yep.
They got an amazing team. I think there's a young fella named Taj. He was just killing it that game versus Waverley Falcons with Dylan Stith, who watch out for him. He's got his citizenship now. So
does he?
Watch
out. Wow, awesome.
So that'll be very interesting to see who picks him up. He's got NBA athleticism. If you've ever watched him play.
Yeah, I have a lot.
Freakish.
That's like Josh Sykes as well, who plays down there as well. He's another sort of one of these imports that just jumps out of the gym. And look, Woods, I should encourage you as well. I know you haven't had a chance to watch a lot, but I've been looking through the box scores the last couple of weeks of this NBL1 South. There are some loaded teams playing there, I tell you. There's some really good quality of players and some imports there as well. So that's going to continue to be a strong league there. So, all right. No,
and Finesse, I don't know if you remember. I don't know, last time we had you on the show, if Robbie had started his gig, but he's now moved into the commentary box with NBL1, calling games on KO and stuff. He's not as big time as you, Finesse, but he's done all right for himself, hasn't he?
No, he's on KO more than I've ever been, so he's big time.
Nice. I appreciate the words there, Woods. Well, all right, boys. It's been a real action-packed show. Really enjoyed this one today. Catching up with Finesse for the 3rd time on the show. He's always welcome there. We love chopping it up with him. So, I guess before we sort of finish with the formalities there, just wanted to remind everyone where you can sort of follow us there. So Twitter, we're at Throwbacks Hoops. Instagram, we're throwback.hoops. And of course, our email, throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Woods, before we throw back to Finesse there, give us your little shout-outs there.
Look, please send in some more questions. I know obviously we haven't had a chance to get to them lately, Robbie, with a lot of guests on the show and things like that. We will get to your questions when we can. We probably will do a mailbag episode pretty soon once the NBA season's finished. And for all of you that jump on Patreon and pledge your support for us, we can't thank you enough. We appreciate it. And if you'd like to do that, look up Throwback Hoops on Patreon. Look for the 2 microphones and the Atlanta Hawks logo. That's us, and appreciate everyone's support.
Hey, Woods, I'm going to give a little tease as well. I'm not going to drop the name there, but we've got a big guest coming on next week. So I'm talking a former NCAA champion and an NBL star that's basically, after his career's finished, has stayed in Australia there. So that's my clue there. I've been linking up with him this week and having a few chats with him. He's really looking forward to come on. So, yeah, stay tuned. It's either going to be next week or the week after, probably likely next week, but a big guest we've got there. But now it's back to Finesse Mane. Mate, where can people follow you? Give us your handles and your shout-outs and everything like that.
Yeah, TikTok, Finesse Mane, Instagram, The Finesse Mane, and most importantly, YouTube. Check out, Finesse Mane. So make sure you follow on there. Instagram, that's where you'll find me day to day and where you can reach out and DM me. I respond to a lot of DMs on there. So if you ever got a question, hit me up. And also, Patreon, these boys. Make sure you go on their Patreon.
Thanks, Finesse.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Woods, I'll give you a final word. You know I like giving you that.
It's just always a pleasure to chop it up with Finesse and you. Obviously, we've built this relationship over time. Really fun show today where we got to chop it up and talk about a variety of things. And really excited, as Finesse alluded to, this big series coming up between Lakers and Golden State. Yeah.
Well said. All right. Well, it's a big thanks to the Throwback Hoops crew. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.